check, check. Check, check, check. Check, check. Check, check, check. Hello and welcome to the live Q&A webinar. Please let us know in the chat feature in Zoom where you are joining us from and what type of business that you manage. We'll get started here very shortly. We just want to give a few extra seconds or maybe a minute for people to get logged in and pull everything up and be ready to join. We're so glad that you could register and join us today, and we're excited to address any and all questions you have about When I Work. This 30 minutes is directed by your questions, the questions that you submit, and we're going to show you some ways that you can save time scheduling, as well as cut down on overtime costs or cut down on the time it takes to manage the schedule, run payroll, to almost nothing. My name is Tori. I've been with When I Work for coming up on 3 years. I've been on the customer care team, and now I'm in the onboarding role, specifically geared towards small businesses and helping them get their accounts set up and run these webinars. And so I'm very familiar with the application. I'm excited to share my knowledge and just introduce you to the application if you're unfamiliar, or maybe you're just looking to tweak a few things and see if there's different tools or features that you may not understand or fully know kind of what they're capable of doing for reporting purposes, scheduling purposes, timekeeping, whatnot, that we can highlight here. I'm seeing a bunch of responses in the chat there about people saying where they're from. We got people from Minneapolis, where When I Work is based, Atlanta, yeah, all over the place. When I Work is used globally, so it's not just based in the US, but it's used all over the world. We have many accounts in Australia, New Zealand, Europe, the UK. So it's always fun to hear what type of business and where people are located, and when we can get together like this for a webinar. All right, so as I've mentioned, this webinar is directed by questions that that are submitted by the participants, by you all. And so we're going to transition from using the chat feature that we've been kind of sharing where we're from and what businesses where we manage into the QA feature. So if you have questions queued up right now that you've been waiting to ask, you can submit those right now. And just in a minute here, I'll transition over to a workplace account so I can address any questions and show you the answers or highlight any tools specifically. So just use this Q&A feature in Zoom and submit your questions through there. I'm going to disable the normal chat. I'll re-enable it towards the end if there's anything you want to say towards the end. All right, so let's get over into an account. All right, so I just transitioned us into a page where most accounts are here the most. So this is the scheduler page in When I Work, the When I Work account. You'll see at the top taskbar here kind of shows you where you can navigate to in the account. So you've got the alert, the bell icon here. So this will any new news that we send out about new project or products or any notifications that need your attention. You can click here and it'll kind of just show you all of that stuff. And you can also there's a search bar up here. You have the dashboard, which is an excellent tool to give you a snapshot of your account and different things that are going on currently or have gone on recently. So definitely explore the dashboard and all those features. And then here we are in the scheduler. All right, so let's get to some of the questions. They've already started rolling in. So, all right, so somebody's asking, we operate by a piece rate budget versus hourly tracking. So how can this be implemented into When I Work? And that is an excellent question. So When I Work is it's specifically designed for hourly shift workers. So almost all of our features and functionality are geared towards that. So shifts in the scheduler, as we're looking at here, have a start and end time. So you know how many hours are assigned. You can see those totals under the person's name in the scheduler so they can see how many they're scheduled in that time period. You can set a max amount of hours. So let's say you have teenagers or people that are part-time workers that shouldn't be scheduled over a certain amount of hours, like 20 hours, 24 hours a week, whatever it is for your business. You can set a max hours for their profile and then that will show up. So if you accidentally or another schedule manager accidentally schedules them over that time, there'll be a warning and you will see this in red. This number will be highlighted in red that they've been assigned more hours than they can have. So when it comes to like other types of pay structures like bonuses or recording tips or flat rates or whatever, When I Work doesn't have a specific functionality to track that because we do calculate worked hours and pay rates based on the number of hours worked and the rate assigned to the person's profile. So while there's flexibility in there to make it work, if you have if this person's doing this project and they get paid this much amount of money, you can calculate that out in a way to get a rough estimate of what the rate is going to be for budget tracking or salary track or like rate tracking purposes. But there isn't a specific, as there would be with a payroll processing application, there isn't a specific way to highlight flat rates or bonuses or tips. All right, so we have another question. So this one is about our attendance platform. So I'm just going to take a quick 20 seconds here to highlight the two main platforms that When I Work has. So When I Work is, we started out being just a scheduling tool. So our scheduler is how you assign shifts to employees, how you post shifts for employees to pick up here in the open shifts row. But we also have a time clock and attendance platform that works in conjunction with the scheduling platform, and that allows you to manage what time clock methods that we have available that you want your team to use to record their hours. And when they use one of those time clock methods and have hours, they would show up in their timesheets. So how you navigate to the timesheets is you just hover over attendance here, and then you have these options. So you click timesheets. And this would bring you to your employees' timesheets. And so you can set the pay periods based on how they should be set for your business and when you run pay periods. And so you can select different pay periods to view timesheets in a specific pay period. Pay periods can be closed out. So after they have passed, if you've gone back and reviewed everything, all the hours look good, you can close it. So I'll take you to an opened pay period. So you'd see this close period option right here. And if you click close period, it'll give you an option to approve any missing time entries. You can see that this person had time entries and then they had scheduled shifts but didn't record any time entries. So you're going to be made aware of that before closing it out. And you can be like, oh no, that person didn't work that day. It's okay. You can approve all the missing entries and then close out that pay period to get a summary. In this example, this pay period, I didn't have any hours recorded for these people. So that's why there is no totals, but here you would see this is what the pay period summary total looks like. And this exact data can be exported by exporting period hours. And to answer this question, the question is, how does When I Work sync with Gusto? Is it by employee or location or both? The question or the answer is to sync with Gusto, once you have that integration set up on your account, you would see a Gusto tab here when you export the pay period hours after you close out the pay period, and you just see the send to file or send to Gusto button, and you click that and it would send all of that data over to them. For specific information on any of our integrations with payroll processors like Gusto, QuickBooks Online, ADP Workforce Now, ADP Run, Paychex, check out our help center. Just type in Gusto, QuickBooks, whatever, and there's going to be a guide that outlines everything that's included in that specific integration. So I don't want to spend too much time here outlining all of the different integrations. So feel free to head to our help center, and I will send links to get you there in chat in a few minutes here if you don't know how to access the help center. But excellent question on integrations and our attendance platform. So we have another question, kind of a follow-up question. So regarding the time clock feature, is there any type of device that we should stay away from? Any operating system that doesn't work, is out of date, or no longer supports your software? This is one of the first times I've gotten a question of this nature in these webinars, and that's an excellent question. So When I Work is a cloud-based application. It can be accessed from our web application through a computer browser at go wheniwork.com to get there and log in. And it can also be downloaded on tablets and smartphones through the mobile app. There are minimum requirements, as there are for most applications. We're consistently updating our apps to make sure that they are optimized and working the way that we want them to, and have as many features as we can pack into the mobile app version of When I Work as possible. So there are specific device requirements for Android and for iOS Apple devices. And so if you type in minimum requirements in the Help Center, you will see all of those, because we also have a time clock terminal application that can be downloaded on a phone or a tablet. And so there's different, based on just how those are created, there's different requirements for each one. So I'd highly recommend checking out the minimum requirements article in our Help Center for specific information. But to answer your question, yes, there are devices, the devices have to meet certain requirements, and we have browsers that we have, computer browsers that we have support and that have When I Work function well in them. So there's only a handful of browsers that we don't recommend using because there could be odd behaviors in them. But Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and there's one, and Safari are all our supported browsers on a computer. And well, I guess we'll stay with the attendance platform right now, because we have a question about, can you edit a clock out time if needed? And the answer to that question is a resounding yes. So let's see if I can find one. Let's see if I can find, here we go. So this is actually a good chance to highlight. So if you've closed out a pay period, that means nobody that has access to edit any of the timesheets can do that once the pay period's been closed. So it's a way to kind of just shut all of that down. Let's say there is a mistake that you noticed after it was closed. You can, an admin or a manager who's been given this access can reopen the pay period by just clicking this menu up here and clicking reopen pay period. on any open pay periods, let's say the dates are messed up or get messed up, or somebody was trying to edit them and clicked the wrong one and they got out of sync or whatever could potentially happen. This is also the menu that would allow somebody with access in the account to edit the pay period dates. Or add an additional pay period at the end of the ones that are currently present. So if I wanted to add the next pay period here, instead of waiting for the system to do it, I can click add pay period and it would show up there. So back to editing. So let's reopen this pay period because there are time entries here. So let's say we find out on July 12th that Bobby Flay did not clocked out at 6, but he ended up getting busy and working until 6:30. Anybody that has the access to edit timesheets, and you can allow employees to have this access. You can also there's four different roles or access levels in the account. There's employee, supervisor, manager, and admin. And supervisors, managers, and admins have the ability to edit employee timesheets as well. So it's pretty straightforward to just edit a time entry. So let's say this one is supposed to be 6:30. You can either just clear it out completely or just adjust what needs to be adjusted, and it automatically updates. So everything in When I Work, anytime you save stuff like that, if there's not a big prompt that says, "Are you sure you want to do that?" any changes you make are going to save automatically. So there's no like confirmation to edit a time. You just have to type it in, hit enter, and you're good to go. So yes, editing timesheets is pretty straightforward and available to whoever you want it to be available to in the account. So let's say you do not want your employees to be able to edit their own timesheets. You would go in this top taskbar here, navigate over the gear menu and select attendance settings. So the gear menu has all the settings pages, and this is where you can start an integration like we talked about earlier. This is the workplace menu. It kind of looks like a small house. Some people say it looks like Toad from the Mario video game series. I don't know if I see that, but I can definitely see the small house. It's supposed to be kind of like a small town general store work front. So yeah, this is where you manage employees, positions, tags, schedules, the whole shebang. So that's like different pages in the account, and then the gear menu is the settings. So let's go to attendance settings. This account currently doesn't allow employees to edit their own timesheets. So they can view them to see if they're all accurate and contact a manager in this case. But if you want your team to be able to enter and edit their timesheets, you can check that box and click save. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. All right, next question. So John is asking, we are wanting to post open positions and then allow the team members to selectively fill open positions on a first come, first basis. Can you show an example of that? Absolutely, I can. I did quickly mention OpenShifts earlier, but I can absolutely dive in a little bit deeper here into how When I Work allows you to do exactly what John is asking here. So as we briefly highlighted earlier, so shifts can be assigned directly to employees. So here we're in employee view in the scheduler. So there's many different views. So if you want to see a longer range of time, you can select month view or 2-week view. I like week view the best. Personally, it's what I recommend most people do unless they have like a specific use case to not do it. To do most of the heavy lifting with scheduling in week view and then use the other views to kind of tweak or see specific things. So you can view just a single day in the schedule and it's going to show all the hours just in case you have a shift that you accidentally set to start at 9 p.m. or end at 9 or 6 a.m. instead of p.m. or whatever. You can see that clearly in day view. Then week view, 2-week view. A lot of hospitals really, really like 2-week views because they have rotations that end up being 2 weeks worth. And then month view. Month view is unique just because of all the data that can be present in there. So it will only show up to 7 shifts like in a block, but if there's more than 7 shifts, there's a way to click and see all of the shifts assigned. You can also filter month view down to just a specific single employee if you'd like. Rachel doesn't have any shifts, but Phoebe does. So that's just a quick overview of the different views. And so posting open shifts. So we're back in week view. So you can assign shifts directly to employees. You can also post shifts up in this green open shifts row. So let's do that. So to add a shift directly into a cell, when you hover over the cell, you'll see a plus sign. You can either click directly on the plus or anywhere in the cell. let's do a shift for Wednesday. When you click on that, any shift templates that you have in the account will show up here for you to just load directly in. A shift template's just a way to save a shift that you're going to be using more than one time, or you're going to be assigning to people out. So you can see in this account, I've got one shift that has no position and then a couple position specific shifts. So let's just do a barista shift that we're going to load in here. When you load in a shift, it's going to be unpublished first. So an unpublished shift is striped, as you see here, and that means that only schedule managers can see it. It's basically a rough draft version of a shift that can be edited. Employees have not been notified of an unpublished shift, so whether it's in the open shifts row or assigned directly to them, if it is unpublished, they will not have been sent any indication that they've been assigned that shift. And they will not be able to see it from the mobile app on their end or the web app on their end when they're logged into their profile. So if we wanted, we just had this shift come up and we wanted to post this shift, publish it out for all qualified and eligible employees, and qualification is determined by position and any tags that you have assigned to profiles and the shift. Etc. So if they're qualified for it and they don't already have a scheduled shift that conflicts with that. So in this example, there's no other shifts on that day. So everybody that is assigned to the barista position is going to get notification for this shift. And then they'd be able to log in, access the account, see that shift as is available, and then add it to their personal schedule. Which is really fun. If this works for your business, if you can give people kind of flexibility to be able to kind of pick and choose which shifts they're working based on the qualifications you set, just posting them in the open shifts row is a great way to do that. So excellent question. Thanks for allowing me to kind of highlight how posting an open shift works and kind of just a high level overview of how that feature works in general as well. All right, so what is the difference between the admin role and the supervisor role? Excellent. So this is, so we're talking about access levels or roles in the When I Work account here and not positions. So a position is basically a way to assign a duty or a position to an employee to a shift. So in this example, this is a central perk in the Friends universe, the coffee shop. So they've got baker, inventory manager. So you can assign multiple positions to multiple people to qualify them for what roles they can do. And then you can also assign them different access levels in the account. So right now we have one admin is Gunther, and then we have Monica, who's she's always going to be a manager whether she has it or not. But yeah, she's at the manager access level. And then let's make I think Ross would be a good supervisor. So if you want to adjust the role of a profile, you can just click on the person's name pretty much anywhere in their row and it'll pull up their profile. And then to change their role, you just do it right here. So you have the employee role, supervisor role, manager role, and admin, and they are in the like descending order of what their permissions are in the account. So the employee role has the least amount of positions. You can choose what you want them to be able to do. If you want them to be able to request somebody to pick up a shift that they can't work or swap a shift, you can allow that in the scheduling settings. You can allow them, as we showed, to edit their own timesheets, whatever. So the employee role is the most restrictive role, and you even have a lot of options to restrict it further or give them more flexibility. The supervisor role is the next level. So supervisors are able to manage schedules, timesheets, and employees in the account. They're restricted more than the manager and an admin is because they can only manage the schedules that they have been assigned to. So if you have multiple different schedules in the account, supervisors are only going to be able to view and manage the schedules that they have been assigned to in their profile, and also employees that are assigned to a common schedule as them. So if a supervisor's only assigned to one schedule, they'd only be able to manage the employees' timesheets that are assigned to that schedule. So hopefully that gives you a good example. I'm also going to send a link with more information on the access levels. If you just type in access in the Help Center, it'll give you the full breakdown of the differences between all the different access levels. But that was a great question. I love to kind of outline just the different options that you can have to how to structure your team and structure the account. So I appreciate that. All right, so we've got 8-ish minutes here, and if we go a little bit late, I'm fine with that. You can dip out when you need to. But I do want to post a bunch of resources in our chat feature in Zoom, just for you to copy and save for your own records. It's just basically kind of if you're brand new and you're just looking for kind of the right direction to head, these links can help you with that. So I'm posting that in the chat right now. So feel free to copy those for your own record, or if you see one that's very specific to what you're looking to do, copy that and head there. And I'll also highlight how to contact my team, the onboarding team, our care team, and also access the help center towards the end of our time here in the next few minutes. All right, another quick question. Are we able to adjust how a time clock rounds? Are we able to allow a certain amount of time for tardiness without clocking or without docking pay hours? That is a good question. When I work, all times are recorded as they are recorded. So whenever the person clocks in, that's how it's recorded. So think of when I work as a fancy digital old school time clock where somebody is punching in, they just have the opportunity to do that through multiple different time clock methods or their mobile device or whatever. There's no automatic rounding options in when I work, just because there's many reasons, but a few of them are just because we want the times to be recorded as the employees are recording them, so that there's not any questions about why did this get rounded this way or whatever. I do know that there are payroll processors that when I work either has an integration with or doesn't, that includes like rounding, so you can get data from when I work into the payroll processor and then set up rounding options there for that purpose. But when I work itself, it does not round time entries or have a setting to round time entries based on a certain factor. All right, man, with these a lot of attendance questions today. Usually these are more scheduling heavy. So how can I, as the admin, turn on the geofencing settings? I want to use the job site location for each shift, but how can I check to see the employee is at the job site when they check in? I have many different employees at many different locations. All right, so to edit, so let's head back to the settings. So to first, just to get to the attendance settings, which we've highlighted before, so you got general, scheduling, attendance. So to enable or manage the time clock options that you have available to your employees, you'll just head back to the attendance settings, and then here are the options. So you can enable clock in with mobile, you can disable it, and when it's enabled, you'll see the option to geofence their location for what just clocking in or just clocking out. And you can do the same thing if you enable the personal computer option. So this is how you turn those on. And if you have them on, you can set the radius. The minimum radius is 100 meters. And I know some people are like, that's that people could be in the parking lot. That is true, but this is all based on GPS. So when I work doesn't track somebody's location 100% of the time, just when they're clocking in and out. So 100 meters and satellites or whatever. So if you have a bunch of people, if you've set it to 100 meter that are saying, it says I'm outside my location, just bump it up to 150 meters or 200 meters just to make sure that their phone is getting their location accurately, and when I work is reading that location accurately and all of that stuff. So this is how you enable that. And as you mentioned, you are using the job sites feature to designate the location of a shift, which is definitely one way that you can do that. So locations of a shift can be determined in two different ways. They can be determined by the different schedules. So you'll see in this account, I have the Central Park Coffee Shop schedule, I have the roasting facility schedule, and then I also have a master view that I would, I don't have them assigned to it right now, but I would assign everybody to it just to give me a full view only option to see all shifts scheduled in the account. I'm not actually assigning shifts into that schedule. It's simply just for a view only. And I see a lot of accounts have one of these just to give them a full view if they're choosing to use different schedules to designate locations, departments, or teams instead of utilizing the job sites feature. So in regard to the job sites feature, let's say we've got, I'm going to quickly duplicate this shift. And so you can duplicate shifts in the scheduler by holding the command key on a Mac or the control key on a Windows computer, and then clicking the shift and dragging it to another cell. So I'm just going to highlight how to assign a job site to a shift. So let's say Ross is actually not working at Central Perk, which is the schedule I have pulled up here. He is off-site at a catering event on Saturday, the 14th. So I am going to save and publish that shift. And if I wanted to see, these are the filter options, by the way, on this left side. This menu can be collapsed. So if you ever have lost that and you're like, how do I publish shifts? Always just check that it's not hidden over there. You can select positions, and in these view options, you have tons of customization options. You can view the shift colors by shift. You can view the position, like the shift colors by the positions you have assigned, and also by job site. So here I'm going to actually view shift colors by job site so I can see really clearly which shift is assigned to a job site, and I have those color coordinated so it's really easy to spot. So this lets Ross know, this lets us know that, hey, that shift is at a different location. When Ross clocks into that shift on Saturday, all of the shift details are going to be automatically associated with his time entry in his timesheet. So you will know that the job site that he was at, that he clocked into, especially, I mean, obviously, if you have the location restrictions enabled, will be at this catering event. And in that job site, you can have the address, whatever. So once you review the timesheet, you will know what he clocked into, where he clocked into. You can click on the time entry to see a map of the location of where he was when he clocked in. So yes, When I Work can be used to schedule things at multiple locations, and it's really easy to track and see who's where and who's clocked in for what and where they were when they clocked in. So excellent question. All right, so yeah, more, man. I guess once we start talking about the time clock and attendance, it just keeps going. We are at right up at the time, so I want to get my kind of ending info. I'll stick around for a few more minutes because there's a lot of questions that we haven't gotten to yet, and answer them if you're willing to stay around. But I do want to swap back just to make sure you have all the information that you need. All right, so if you are on a trial and you are looking for a paid plan or you're being prompted to select a plan, our small business plan is kind of our main plan that's available. And we recommend if you have less than 100 employees and there's not something that's like, you need from the enterprise level plan, like access to When I Work's API to build out your own integration if it doesn't already exist. Like small business plan is the one that I recommend, the way to go. You can always upgrade to enterprise later if there's some specific things about the enterprise plan that your organization needs access to. So the small business plan, it's got everything we showed you. It's got the scheduler, it's got the time clock and attendance. You can choose to enable that for the plan because that is an add-on to our scheduling function. So everything we've shown here is all stuff that's present on the small business plan. And then we already outlined in detail the attendance add-on, so I won't bore us by going over all of that again. So if you want to select a plan, you would just hover over the gear menu that we showed and click account and billing, and then upgrade my account. And that's where you can select the checkout to activate your account. Pay attention to this last little GIF in this slide here, because that is where you kind of adjust whether you want the time clock and attendance platform enabled on the account. That does raise the price because it's an additional add-on platform that you can choose to have or not have. You can also select an annual billing cycle instead of the monthly billing cycle. And that comes with a 5% discount just based on the length of the subscription compared to the month to month. So if you like When I Work, you're going to be using it for a while, you're not going to be dropping employees or whatever in the next calendar year, the annual plan is definitely the way to go just so you can get that 5% discount. And so that's the information I wanted to get to you right now. If you want to contact my team, the onboarding team, click the little smiley face chat icon from the web app in the bottom right corner. If you want to connect with our customer care team that has wider available hours than my team does, we work kind of regular business hours, 7:30 to 4:30 Central Time. Our customer care team is available in a wider range than that. So if you have a question that you send in after our hours and we're not getting back to you or whatever, we would get back to you as soon as we can the next workday. But you can always contact our care team just by clicking Need Help, and you can send in an email ticket or chat with them if you're on a paid subscription plan, and they can assist you there. All right, I did. It's 1:32, so it's officially over. I will not be hurt if any of you leave right now. I am going to try to answer one or two more questions just because we had so many great ones come in. So it's officially over but we're going to have some bonus question answering time if you're willing to hang out. So I just want to thank everyone again for all of the questions, amazing questions today. And I am here. You will probably chat with me once we're done if you click that green button. So if you have any questions that I didn't get to, please contact me and my team and we can address those and make sure that you have all the information you need to make an educated decision on which plan you want to do and whether When I Work is going to fit for your businesses, and we'll figure that out. So back to the account, 2 more bonus questions. Gotta find the good ones. All right, so we had a question about shift templates, which I had already highlighted before. So I just want to show a quick way how you can save and manage shift templates. So I'm going to switch back to position view for the colors and then employee view. So let's say we want to, we'll save this. I think this is already a shift template, so I'm going to change it a little bit. Let's change the time on this. So to save a shift as a shift template, once you have created it, you can click on it in the scheduler, and then you can just click right here, save as shift template. And that will save it so you can load it in quickly later to any other cell, any other schedule that you need. To set a shift to repeat, which would be a separate process from saving it as a shift template, you would just check this box down here and that would open up these other options. Shifts can be set to repeat at 1 to 6 week intervals, and you can have them repeat for up to 1 calendar year. And the reason that there's a limit on that is just in case somebody accidentally hit 2031 instead of 2021. We don't want them to have to create 10 years worth of shifts and cause something to crash or whatever. 3021, I don't know. So yeah, so there is a limit. So, but you can set shifts to repeat for up to a year and then set a reminder somewhere and check them a month before they need to be renewed to make sure everything is good, to push them out farther than a year or create a new shift to cause them to repeat. So excellent question about some of our scheduling shortcuts. Thank you for that. All right, and we'll do one more bonus question. Just give me a few seconds here to read through and pick a juicy one that I feel like applies to a lot of different people. This is a good one. So this is all about time zones in one schedule. So how do I edit time zones? So time zones can be set for the account as a whole or for individual profiles. So they cannot be set for a specific job site or a specific schedule, just because that can cause some confusion for people that may not be physically in that time zone. So time zones are set by the account for everyone or a custom time zone set in a profile. If a profile has a custom time zone, that's basically translates all the times into their time zone. So if the account's time zone and the schedule manager's time zone is Central Time, and they are looking at a shift from 9 to 6 p.m., 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., if the same person that had a custom time zone in Pacific Time was looking at that, they would see it as 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it just translates all of that. So all the shift information is the same. It doesn't change it. It's basically just adjusts the lens through which that person is viewing the times in the account. So I hope that clarifies that for you. And just one more big thank you for everyone for the questions and for the webinar, for registering and showing up. And we're here to help. The onboarding team's here to help. We've got a great team, and our goal, we want this to work for you. We think we have a great product, and we think that it can fit and meet the majority of scheduling and timekeeping needs for most businesses. We understand that we're not a one size fits all, and that there's certain things that When I Work won't work with, but I really do believe that in the vast majority of cases, When I Work can help businesses save time and save money, managing their teams, scheduling, and timekeeping. So thank you for joining today, and once more for all of your great questions.